هذا قبر النبي يوشع. هذا المكان بناء عمره أكثر من 1000 سنة، يعني البناء مالته عباسي. وهذا مرقد النبي يوشع عليه السلام، هو ابن إفرائيل ابن يوسف، يعني حفيد يوسف، يلقب فتى موسى. طبعا هذا المكان جدا قديم، صارت عليه تحديثات بناء، وهذا القبر طبعا تشوفون مكانه والقبة.
Whether you're a Christian, Muslim, or Jew, the name Moses is one you've likely encountered numerous times. This monumental figure holds a significant place in all three Abrahamic religions. Moses' story, whether viewed as legend or fact, has left an indelible mark on history. According to biblical accounts, after his death, Moses' burial site was deliberately hidden, shrouded in mystery for millennia. But what if that mystery is finally unraveled? Renowned modern explorer Josh Gates claims to have uncovered this long-lost tomb, a site hidden beneath what appears to be an ancient artificial stone mound. But the discovery didn't end there. Inside this tomb, Gates found something that has sent shockwaves through religious communities across the globe. What could it be? And why is it sparking such intense debate? Get ready, because what we're about to reveal might just challenge everything you thought you knew about one of history's greatest prophets. To see today's video, you will have appropriate answers to all the questions above. Before you know what happened, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and click the bell icon for all the latest updates. Now, if there is a historical Moses, where is he? According to biblical tradition, he ended his journey on the other side of Mount Nebo. Moses, one of the most significant figures in religious history, has been the subject of countless texts, stories, and debates. Despite the extensive records of his life and achievements, one aspect of Moses' story remains shrouded in mystery: the location of his final resting place. Enter Josh Gates, a modern-day explorer with a thirst for uncovering the unknown. Determined to solve the age-old mystery of Moses' burial site, Gates embarked on a mission to discover this elusive resting place, believed by many to be on Mount Nebo. As we prepare to delve into what Josh Gates uncovered during his expedition, let's first take a step back to examine Moses' life and why the question of his burial site holds such profound importance. Stay tuned, as the revelations that follow may surprise you. Moses is undoubtedly one of the most pivotal figures in the history of religion, particularly within Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. His story, primarily chronicled in the Hebrew Bible, specifically in the books of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, portrays him as a prophet, leader, and lawgiver. The life and deeds of Moses have profoundly influenced not only the people of his time, but also countless generations and cultures across millennia. Moses was born in Egypt during a dark period for the Israelites, who were then enslaved by the Egyptians. Historians estimate his birth around the late 14th century BCE, possibly around 1391 BCE. At that time, the Egyptian pharaoh, fearing the growing population of the Israelites, decreed that all newborn Hebrew boys should be killed. Desperate to save her child, Moses' mother, Yocheved, placed him in a basket and set it adrift on the Nile River, entrusting his fate to divine providence. His sister Miriam kept a watchful eye on the basket as it floated downstream. In a remarkable twist of fate, the pharaoh's daughter discovered the basket and, moved by compassion, decided to raise the child as her own. She named him Moses, meaning drawn out of the water, a name that would become synonymous with deliverance and leadership. Moses grew up in the opulence of the royal palace, enjoying the privileges and education of an Egyptian prince. However, despite his upbringing, Moses was always aware of his Hebrew heritage. At the age of 40, a pivotal event occurred that would alter the course of his life. While witnessing an Egyptian overseer brutally beating a Hebrew slave, Moses was overcome with anger and struck the Egyptian, killing him. In a panic, he buried the body in the sand, hoping to conceal his deed. However, when the pharaoh learned of the incident, Moses was forced to flee Egypt to escape execution. Moses sought refuge in the land of Midian, located in the northwest Arabian Peninsula. There, he found solace and a new life. He encountered Jethro, a priest of Midian, and married his daughter, Zipporah. Moses spent the next 40 years as a shepherd, tending to Jethro's flocks and living a life of relative obscurity. During this period, Moses undoubtedly reflected on his past and the plight of his people in Egypt. At the age of 80, Moses experienced a divine encounter that would forever change his destiny. While tending his sheep near Mount Horeb, also known as Mount Sinai, he witnessed an extraordinary sight: a bush engulfed in flames, yet not consumed by the fire. From within the burning bush, God spoke to Moses, commanding him to return to Egypt and lead the Israelites out of bondage. To assure Moses and the people of his divine mission, God endowed him with special powers, enabling him to perform miraculous signs and wonders. Moses, along with his brother Aaron, who served as his spokesman, confronted the Pharaoh with a simple but formidable demand: "Let my people go." When the Pharaoh refused, God unleashed a series of 10 devastating plagues upon Egypt, each one more severe than the last. These plagues, as recorded in the Bible, included turning the Nile River into blood, swarms of frogs, gnats, and flies, a deadly disease that afflicted livestock, painful boils, destructive hailstorms, an invasion of locusts, 3 days of darkness, and finally, the death of the firstborn sons of Egypt. The final plague, which struck down the Pharaoh's own son, ultimately broke the ruler's resolve, and he relented, allowing the Israelites to leave Egypt. This monumental event, known as the Exodus, is believed to have taken place around 1250 BCE. Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, guiding them toward the promised land of Canaan. As the Israelites journeyed toward freedom, the Pharaoh, consumed by anger and regret, ordered his army to pursue them. The Israelites found themselves trapped between the advancing Egyptian forces and the Red Sea. In a moment of divine intervention, God instructed Moses to stretch out his hand over the sea, causing the waters to part and create a dry path for the Israelites to cross. Once they reached the other side, the waters returned, drowning the Egyptian army and securing the Israelites' escape. Following their deliverance, Moses led the Israelites through the harsh desert landscape. They camped at Mount Sinai, where God gave Moses the 10 Commandments, laws that would form the cornerstone of Jewish ethics and legal tradition. These commandments included fundamental principles such as honoring one's parents and prohibitions against murder, theft, and bearing false witness. The Israelites' journey through the desert was fraught with challenges, including a lack of food and water, which tested their faith and obedience to God. For 40 years, the Israelites wandered in the desert, a period marked by disobedience and mistrust toward God. During this time, Moses acted as their leader, judge, and spiritual guide. He taught them God's laws, settled disputes, and provided for their needs, including miraculously bringing forth water from a rock and feeding them with manna, a heavenly food that appeared each morning. As they neared the end of their journey, Moses ascended Mount Nebo, where he was granted a glimpse of the Promised Land. However, God informed Moses that he would not enter the land due to an earlier act of disobedience at the waters of Meribah. According to the Bible, Moses died on Mount Nebo, and God himself buried him in a secret location, a momentous event believed to have occurred around 1271 BCE. Now, returning to Josh Gates and his quest. The traditional location of Moses' death and burial is indeed Mount Nebo. Yet, recent clues unearthed by Gates suggest that the mystery of Moses' tomb may finally be closer to being solved. For centuries, scholars, archaeologists, and believers have speculated about the whereabouts of Moses' grave. Some ancient texts and local traditions hinted that clues might be found in the regions surrounding the Sea of Galilee, an area steeped in religious history and significance. The Sea of Galilee, located in northern Israel, is the country's largest freshwater lake and has been a focal point in biblical narratives. Given its rich history, it seemed a promising place to search for evidence of Moses' burial site. With this in mind, Josh Gates and his team meticulously planned an expedition, driven by the hope of uncovering one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. What Gates and his team discovered during their expedition could potentially rewrite history, shedding new light on the final chapter of Moses' life. As the investigation unfolds, the revelations that emerge may finally provide answers to a question that has intrigued humanity for millennia. Where is the final resting place of Moses? Ready to explore the unknown?